In my last Skyblock video, I transformed the original small dirt island into the humble base you see here. In that video, I made a manual tree farm, a double cobblestone generator, and a hostile mob farm. In today's video, I want to try to make even more progress than last time. At the risk of being overly ambitious, my goal is to clear 3 Skyblock landmarks in this one episode. First, I want to gain access to snow as a building block by creating a snow farm. Second, I want to build a gold farm in the nether. And lastly, I want to trap at least 5 piglins to make a piglin bartering station. As you can see, we have a lot to get done today, so let's jump right into goal number 1, the snow farm. In order to make a snow golem, I need 2 basic resources, a jack-o'-lantern and 2 snow blocks. While I was waiting for the pumpkin to grow, I mined some cobble at my generator. Now that I'm producing iron from rare zombie drops, I was able to outfit the cobblestone generator with 2 hoppers, making it much more productive. I used 2 more pieces of iron to make a set of shears, so when the pumpkin was finally ready to grow, I could shear it into a jack-o'-lantern. It's impossible to tell by looking, but the biome my base is actually in is called a windswept forest biome. This is one of the new features that was added in the Caves and Cliffs update. This was actually quite lucky, because in this biome, if you go above Y level 120, it will snow instead of rain. I stacked my way up with cobblestone and made a small platform at the right height. Then I just had to wait for it to snow. I collected enough snowballs to make a couple snow golems and then headed back down to the main island. I rearranged the mob farm storage area so I could fit the new snow farm as a small extension. The concept of the farm is pretty simple. You just need to have snow golems standing on top of solid blocks. Once the golems are in, all I have to do is hold left click with a stone shovel, and the snow just pours in. After I break a couple shovels, I craft the snowballs into snow blocks and repeat the process. The main reason I wanted to collect snow in this episode is because I plan on using it as a primary block in the gold farm. I also want to use a lot of warped blocks, and currently I don't have any. I head to the nether and start prepping the area for tree farming. I collected some netherrack, doing my best to be careful since netherrack is a non-renewable resource, making it very valuable in Skyblock. I replaced it with a cobblestone platform and made separate sections for the crimson and warped nylium. By bone mealing the nylium, I collected warped fungi, which is essentially the sapling for warped trees. I grew the trees 4 at a time and mined down from the top. I plan on using both the wood and the warp blocks for the gold farm, so I repeated this process for a while until I had enough of each. As a consequence of mining all these trees, I also picked up a couple stacks of shroom lights. As of now, I don't have much use for these blocks, but I'm sure they'll come in handy later on considering Skyblock doesn't have many lighting options. That's one of the things about Skyblock that I love the most. The number of blocks you have access to is extremely limited, so the blocks that you can get become much more valuable. If I was making a gold farm in a regular survival world, I probably wouldn't make my main block pallets snow and warped wood. But in Skyblock, you work with what you have. In a regular survival world, I wouldn't even bother collecting netherrack, but in Skyblock, I'm terrified to lose even one piece into the void. Once I had collected all of the necessary blocks, it was time to actually start building. I started with the new portal area and got rid of the cobblestone and made a simple but more appealing design. It's time I explain my vision for how I want this gold farm to look. The block palette that I've chosen, being snow and warped wood, gives off a very cold, wintry feel. I decided to lean into that and make it the theme of the build. I made a few prototypes based on that idea and eventually landed on the design I'm building now. After finalizing it, I decided to name this build the Snowflake Gold Farm. The part I'm building now is the killing area, where the piglins will fall and die. In the center of the platform, I built a white snowflake. I'll be sprinkling in a few more snowflakes throughout the design as well. The most important part of this process is making sure that there are no spawning spaces available when I'm building, which, as you can see, I've failed to do. To mob-proof the snow blocks, I put a layer of white carpet on top, which I got from crafting string into wool for my mob farm. This was a huge pain to do with the piglins in the way. Luckily, a normal piglin accidentally shot one of the zombie piglins. This made the zombies swarm and get out of the way. Afterwards, placing carpet was no problem. On the north side of the build, I started working on a Piglin Bartering setup. I'll worry about getting the actual piglins in there later, I'm just building the structure for now. On the opposite side, I replaced the cobblestone bridge with a snowflake. This is just a prettier stepping stone between the two platforms. I keep this thing going. I build 6 more snowflakes, making 9 in total. 5 big ones and 4 small ones, and of course, each snowflake must be unique. Once the snowflakes were finished, the build was looking pretty good, but it's still not functional. I need to build the actual spawning platforms for the zombie piglins. I bone mealed a twisting vine to make a ladder up to the spawning area. Then I covered it with snow and fences. This will be my way up and down while I'm working on the farm. Now for the spawning platforms. I was tempted to make the design another snowflake, however I wanted a more space efficient design so that the farm would be more productive. So instead, I made some platforms that are snowflake-esque while still providing as much spawning space as possible. Surrounding each platform, I put trapdoors. These will encourage the mobs to walk over the gaps. And just like that, the farm is fully functional. To use this farm, I shoot an arrow from the bottom. Once I hit a zombie piglin, the others will all try to run towards me. The trapdoors trick them into thinking they can walk over the gap, and they end up falling to their deaths on the platform below. While they're falling, I run around this platform collecting the drops. Since the mobs are aggroed on me, their deaths count as player kills. This means they'll drop XP, gold swords, and most importantly, gold ingots. Well, now I have access to gold, but that's not much use on its own. My main reason for gathering gold is to barter with piglins. I created a temporary spawning pad and corralled about 8 piglins. Once they were caught, I threw them a piece of gold armor. Once they pick it up, they will become what's technically known as a persistent mob. This essentially means that they won't be able to despawn and they won't count towards the mob cap. This means it doesn't matter how many piglins I capture, they aren't going to slow down the gold farm. I'm going to be collecting a lot of different items from this setup, so I put in a decent amount of storage. I used the leather I got from bartering to make some item frames, and label the chest with one of each item that you can get from the piglins. Well, the items I intend to keep anyway. By tossing the piglins gold, I can get certain resources that are essential to Skyblock. For example, obsidian, blackstone, soul sand, nether brick, quartz, and gravel. This will open up a bunch of new options, like creating new nether portals, crafting redstone components, and making more dirt blocks. Now that I have gravel, I can craft it together with dirt to make coarse dirt. Then I just revert the coarse dirt into dirt, essentially turning 1 block of gravel into 1 block of dirt. That's as much progress as I'm going to be making in this video. Now that we have access to gold and piglin bartering, the logical next step is villager trading. Farming gold means I can craft golden apples, which are needed to cure zombie villagers. Once villagers are in play, that means renewable redstone, iron farms, and diamond tools. Those are the milestones I will be clearing in the next part of this series. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know what you think of the Snowflake Gold farm. I make videos in Skyblock and in my normal survival world, so if you like this kind of content, you can subscribe to get my videos recommended to you. Thanks again for watching, I'll see you next time.